Hello, welcome to Bob's Dungeon. My name's Bob, I'll be your host. And in this video, we're going to talk about things that I can't believe do not have an official TTRPG for it. These would be like different properties and so forth. Like there's a tabletop role-playing game for Indiana Jones. There's a tabletop role-playing game for Men in Black. There's a tabletop role-playing game for The Lord of the Rings. There's a tabletop role-playing game for Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles. All kinds of popular properties and entities have their own dedicated tabletop role-playing game to them. Now, some of them use the rule systems for other games, yes, but they have officially published and licensed books put out for them. And there are some properties and things that surprise me don't have official games published for them. And we're going to talk about 5 of them. But first I'm going to give an honorable mention. And this honorable mention, it sort of exists, but sort of does not. And that would be the Masters of the Universe role-playing game. Now, back in the 80s, FASA, the company that gave us Shadowrun, had the rights to make a Masters of the Universe game. And what they put out was this miniatures game where the miniatures were all cardboard and markers and stuff. And the rule book was kind of like an activity book, and you had to figure out things in order to get the rules. But the role-playing aspect was you were playing one of the characters that were made popular in the animated show for Masters of the Universe. So you didn't get to make up your own character. And you just played on the game board and stuff. So maybe it can be considered, it's kind of like a hybrid. Maybe it's a role-playing game. Maybe it's just a miniatures game. Maybe it's just a board game. That's for you to decide on what you think. But then years later, not too long ago, another company had the rights to do a Masters of the Universe game, and they were going to make a full-on role-playing game, tabletop role-playing game. And about a year ago or so, probably longer, no more. We didn't hear nothing else from it. No more updates, no release time, nothing. So maybe it's still coming out. Maybe it's in developmental hell. I don't know. But it is a entity that should have existed decades ago. So that's my honorable mention. Now let's get into my list proper. The first thing on my list is the Doom video game series. Now, Doom was very popular. I never really played it, but it was very popular. It even got a movie starring The Rock. And it just never had a tabletop role-playing game for it. And it's got a lot of good elements there that would be great for a tabletop role-playing game, but it never saw the light of day. Never got made. My second pick is another video game, and this one makes a lot more sense to me. Again, it's a video game I never really played, and it had a full-on movie series, which I absolutely hated, but the Resident Evil series would make a great tabletop role-playing game. You got zombies, you got mutants, you got government conspiracies, end of the world, post-apocalypse, and according to the movies, Jedi powers. So it would be a great tabletop role-playing game, but we've never seen it. Now, bear in mind, a lot of these things I'm mentioning, there have been people that have homebrewed their own rules and stuff for these games and have played them and have put them online for people to get, but there are no actual official stuff released for tabletop role-playing game for these properties. The next thing I want to talk about is a book series, and it came out in the 80s, and it was written by Dennis L. McCarnan, and that is the Iron Tower trilogy. And there's 3 books. I read these in the early 90s when I got copies of them, and I liked them. There's a lot of people who consider them just a Lord of the Rings knockoff, and I can see that. It kind of follows a lot of the same beats. But instead of hobbits, you have warros. And there are some other differences. But I tried to get my friend to read it because I liked it. But he refused to read it, said it was just a cheap Lord of the Rings knockoff. So, but it was actually pretty good. And I can't see why it was never made into a tabletop role playing game, especially now that everybody's struggling to come up with the D&D Slayer, you know. But, or at least in a campaign setting for it, for your Dungeons and Dragons game. Someone should get on that. The next thing I'm going to talk about, my number 4, is a very, very weird one. It's something nobody has ever asked for, something that nobody will ever ask for. I'm just mentioning it because it hits all of the beats and it's just really weird and wacky. And that would be a tabletop role-playing game based off the Police Academy series. Hear me out. Police Academy had a total of 8 or 9 movies. It had a cartoon series. It had a toy line. It even had a short-run comic book series based off the toys and cartoon line. So everything's there to make it kind of a qualification for a big series that can make it into the TTRPG realm. And it could really work. You could you can make up your trainee in the police academy, going through having wacky adventures and eventually becoming a police officer, and then being charged to train the new wacky people and doing your thing. So it'd be a comedy type of role-playing game. But then again, like I said, it's something nobody has asked for and nobody will ever ask for. But it does fit everything it needs to be a TTRPG. My last one is extremely surprising that there is no official anything as far as TTRPG put out for this property. And that would be the Harry Potter series. It had a string of books, which I never got into. And I didn't care for the movies, but they were extremely popular and had all kinds of merchandising put out for it. And there are people that have homebrewed their own rules using existing rules or their own. And they use those to play their own version, and they've posted online if you want that. But officially, no company has ever published rules for a Harry Potter TTRPG, as far as I know. And it would probably sell really big. There is a lot of people that would be into that. But it's really surprising that I've never seen it. We have My Little Pony, but no Harry Potter. So that's my list. 5 movies, honorable mention. So, if you can think of a few, let me know. Maybe we'll put another video together mentioning more properties that should have had a TTRPG by this point. And thank you for joining me at my rambling, and hopefully you'll join me next time where we'll talk about something else. Bye.